Burgundy Ballers, truly welcome back to another episode of the Ballin In Burgundy podcast. Yeah, myself, John, is back. We are back after a 2-week bye week hiatus camp, whatever you want to call it, regardless of Wednesday nights. But I am back once again, and we've got the one and only NFL Insider, Commanders Insider for ABC and CBS, and the host of his own show, the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, DC Radio 1, and all the above. The one and only Mr. Lake Lewis Jr. Mr. Lewis, welcome back. How's it been?
It's good, man. Appreciate you having me back on. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I think it's been since week one of last season, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you guys are doing
Yeah,
some good stuff, I see.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. A lot's happened since last time we had spoken. You've obviously gotten your show back up and running. We've done a few things and some housekeeping recently, but it's been a busy season. It's been a busy off season, but man, it's good to talk with you again.
Yeah, this is the time to get everything in order because this team is flying high and everybody wants to be part of it somehow, some way. So yeah, it's busy times for all of us for sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kick things off for guys who free if you have not already like and subscribe here on Be a Road to 750 subscribers. We're sitting last time I checked like 545, 544. So we're keeping some steam going, but y'all just like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ballin In Burgundy Podcast, Twitter at BIB Podcast 22 because Twitter hates long usernames. I refuse to pay for a username.
Yeah,
And
I stopped. Yeah, now I don't want to say it like that, but yeah, I had a check mark years ago, and now people are buying them, so I'm good.
you just can't do it no more. Can't can't do it. But if you guys have not already, subscribe to the Lake Lewis Jr. YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the whole nine. He and Rio every Tuesday about like 1 o'clock. Every time I catch it's like 1 o'clock. You can watch them on Rio's live stream. You can check him out all on social media. See whether it's insider knowledge, football knowledge, fashion knowledge, just good IQ. You can follow him. It's a blast to follow everything he does. So I'm fortunate enough to
I
do.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I wanted to talk with you, whether it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I won't make this too long. Um, we're obviously getting into the tail end or the height of the summer. Summer is like a month away. Um, in the next 2 weeks, camps really kind of start to take form. You'll see some new faces in new places. All the rookies should report by then, unless you're the Bengals. Um, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this roster because you and Rio talked about it, I'm sure, at length from what I've caught on. But there seems to be a hierarchy with the fans right now. It's some fans think we have a top five roster. Some of us have it back at number 20. I'm around a 10 to 12 mark myself. I think we've got really good pieces from last year coming back. We got some really good pieces in the draft, considering only 5 draft picks, and they all were pretty much home run hits. I kind of want to get your thoughts on if there were any kind of glaring needs, I think, still on the roster. Kind of go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah, it's a good segue too, just because I not doing a shameless plug, but tomorrow on Memorial Day I do have a my power ranking top five,
Oh,
and it's now after the draft and some things that have happened with teams. I know there's still a Trey Hendrickson possibility with a lot of teams, maybe even Cincinnati, it helps their ranking, but
yeah.
for right now I have my five, and ironically I have Washington as number five
Okay.
and so I understand that some of the fans that are out there that are still a little not skeptical, but just like last year was a magical season and that may not happen again. Well, I'm kind of along the lines of last year was a magical season because there was a culture shift in the building. They had adequate coaching, they had just the right feel around everything, but more importantly they had a franchise quarterback. And when you have one of those, you should be in the running every year. When you look at the teams that have those type of quarterbacks, the Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City's, Lamar Jackson's in Baltimore. I know Baltimore hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl with Lamar, but they are a perennial threat to get to the Super Bowl every year. Josh Allen, same thing now in Buffalo. Joe Burrow, yeah, they didn't make the playoffs last year because their defense was atrocious. But with that said, Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl already,
His
where
first
they
full season healthy, Super Bowl.
exactly. So Jayden Daniels is ascending into that category. He's not going to be that. No offense to a Dak Prescott or anything like that, but Dak Prescott to me can't totally lead a team, can't carry a team if that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, he can. All he has to do is play his part, and he's the best game manager in all of football. And that's not a disrespect to him. That is what it is, but that's why he's a top five quarterback too. If you look at the numbers and the production and what he's done for that team in Philadelphia, they're Super Bowl champions, and he's a big part of that. So I say this to the fan base out there that just doesn't think that Washington's going to have that type of year. They could win 11 games and still be a much better football team. I have them at 14 wins this year. I almost had them at 15, but I was like,
Yeah.
man, that'd be a lot. So yeah, and they got a couple breaks last year. So I'm like, maybe a team gets one of those games from last year on them. So I have them at 14-3, and I think
Okay.
14-3 wins the division and gives you the number one seed in the NFC. And I think that that's what Washington's gunning for.
Yeah, I hope we win the division. I need this tradition of always having a different division winner keep going because
Mhm.
it's too funny in some years. It's like Philly's gonna win and
It-
Dallas just
Look,
makes it.
it's going to be between Washington and Dallas. I mean, if you look at history,
Yeah,
the last 22 years, that's it's saying that there's going to be a different division winner this year. And for my money, I think Washington's better than Dallas. So I go
yeah,
with Washington, but I do think 14 is the number that you need to get to. 13 could be in play this year because the Eagles have a tough schedule, the Cowboys have a tough schedule, Giants have the toughest schedule. So those things all come into play, but Washington has the eighth toughest schedule.
yeah.
So it's going to be tough, but I do think 14. If you can sign up for 14 wins for any team in the NFC East this year, you're guaranteed to win the division. Put it that way.
Yeah, I 14 win is interesting because when Reedy, Z, Juan, and myself were talking either last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago, it was like right two 2 Wednesdays ago
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
the schedule finally dropped. I made the nice graphic and everything. I was like, I want something nice for the schedule release. We were looking at it and we were like, 14 seems almost where that middle ground should be. As we went 12-5 last year.
The
I
Eagles won
think
14 last
Eagles won
year.
14. Yeah. I think our ceiling could be 15, but again, a top 10 hardest, and all the NFC East has a top 10 hardest schedules. Like you said, I think one of the teams made like the Falcons or
Hmm.
something that's just going to flip that switch of we beat them last year. They're
Hmm.
going to get us again on the second round back. We just can't have a game where you're kicking 8 field goals to beat the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Falcons or it could be the Bears. That's going to
Yeah.
be a tough game. The game in Green Bay Thursday night, week two, that's going to be tough. They have the Broncos coming into town.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
And
have
that's a good squad.
they are they listen. I keep telling this to everyone. It's the NFL. If you sleep on Sunday, you're going to lose. I don't care who you're playing. It's the NFL. All these guys are getting paid,
Yeah.
and so I understand that there are teams that are clearly more talented than others, but I also think that if your culture's strong and your coaching, is intact and you bring back the same roster,
Right.
this team should be better. Laramie Tunsil, Josh Conerly Jr. are now going to
Yeah.
be anchors on the line on opposite sides. Brandon Coleman, a really good football player, can move in and play his natural position at guard. So I say all these things because now Jayden, as opposed to making decisions in 2 seconds, which he did very effectively last year, decided if he wanted to run or if he wanted to pass, the
Yeah.
ball was out of his hands one way or another or moving somewhere on the field within 2 seconds. And it was 2.4 to be exact. Well, he should have almost 3 seconds now to look over and survey the field because he'll have adequate blocking in front of him. And I think that those are the little things that you have to account for. Games may not have to come down to the final drive. They may not have to come down to a final play because maybe now they're comfortably ahead of teams.
Right.
And I do think that this team feels like they're good enough to take another step up.
Yep.
So I don't see a letdown this year. I think this team is a full blown Super Bowl or bust football team.
I like that. I like that. I think when I was looking at the roster coming out of the draft, I I was completely high. I think Reedy called me out on this because I did the 4 hour live stream for the draft the first day. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't do second day. I'm gonna be too tired and I work. But night one, I'm sitting here, I'm going through the draft. I'm like, my guys are falling. Mike Green, Ezaraku. I was big on defense in this draft. for whatever reason, I did all the homework. I was like,
Hmm.
I like a lot more defensive guys than I do offensive guys. I was weird this year. And we took Conerly Jr. My first initial reaction, I was like, they hurt me again. They
That's
hurt me
a
again.
no, man, my friend. That was an awesome draft pick.
And it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, you have to build in the trenches, and you
Exactly.
can't. Sometimes you can't build both at the same time. What's their most important asset on this football team? It's their quarterback.
Quarterback.
And they want to make sure that he's not taking unnecessary hits. They want to make sure that he's protected, not just this year, but the Laramie Tunsil, trade,
Yeah.
and then obviously drafting Josh Conerly and being able to move Brandon Coleman, who just finished his rookie year, inside. This is for the long term. These aren't short term solutions or short term patches. This is something where players of Jayden can grow with, and they can understand and know how to play off of each other. I think that what Adam Peters is doing is it's absolutely brilliant. It really is. And it shows that he really does have an eye for talent evaluation. That's what he was known as I call him the boy wonder, as a scout. And now he's manning and running a team with the help of Dan Quinn, of course.
Yep.
They have a really good working connection there, and I just think that this team is being put together solidly. They're not a complete product by any means, and I have to tell fans they're never going to be a complete product. They're never going to be. There's never going to be a year where you walk into the year and say Washington is stacked and they're done. Now you're going to see these players for the next 6, 7 years playing together. It's not the NFL anymore. So they're always in evaluation mode. And I feel like with the additions that they made on defense, ironically, I think their defense is going to be so much better. I mean, Jonathan Jones and
Yeah.
and Dedrick Wise, those guys come from a winning culture in New England. They have Super Bowl rings. So you bring that into a team that's looking to take another step, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, by the end of the year, the defense was playing actually pretty well. Obviously, they couldn't stop the run. We know that. Well, Dedrick Wise is a guy that can set an edge. That's a big move for them. But the big move was Javon Kinlaw. And I keep
Yeah.
telling people who keep saying he's not that good, he had his best career year last year with the Jets in the 1 year he was there, and the Jets stunk. I mean, they were a hot mess all across the board. So for him to have his best season on a terrible football
Full
team,
team.
he's coming from San Francisco. I mean, you go from San Francisco to the Jets, that's like going from a penthouse to an outhouse.
Yeah.
And literally, he had his best production. And I think with Washington, they feel like, oh, I know they feel like it because Adam Peters has said it. They feel like his best football's ahead of him. And that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a great sign. Oh yeah, within 5 minutes of thinking about the pick, I was like, all right, I'm back on the Connolly Jr. train. I was hot for 3 minutes. I was like, I need 2 minutes to do my homework. I was like, that's on me. That's my bad.
Well, you
Uh,
should feel good just because of the simple fact is Trey Amos was, in my book, a first rounder.
wrong pick. That was
Yeah.
me.
So you got a first rounder in the second round. So
Yeah.
you pretty much had a steal there. You pretty much had two first round picks taken with Conerly and Amos. You can't beat that.
No, I thought Amos was going to Buffalo right there at 30. I was like, did we get a corner at
And
61?
they needed one.
And they went Harrison. I was like, I'm not mad at Harrison going to Buffalo. It helps him out a little bit too.
Sure, sure.
But I thought the additions of Jaylin Lane, I thought that was a really underrated pick because I was in the
Huge
boat
move.
of I kind of wanted Tutton for the speed. I wanted Antoine Powell Ryland for the edge ability, but they want Jaylin Lane. I was like, not the hokey I expected, even though I'm an ODU Monarch. So,
Yeah, you thought they were going to take the running back. Yeah, I just
I,
yeah.
but he,
I
he went 104. I was like, that's great value for
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
it is. It is. And I think
Um,
he's going to do well for Jacksonville. But if you ask me to pick between those two and I would have saw that Jaylen Lane was there, I would have done the same thing. I would have taken Lane because he's an apprentice right now. He's
yeah,
he's 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 gonna be able to learn from Terry and Debo, and they're all very similar as far as tough type of players.
yeah,
He's not a gimmicky guy that that's all you can do with him. He physically is sound. He had a nice build on him. Like
yeah,
he was bigger than I thought when we were out there for rookie minicamp. And I could see them, doing a lot of things with him that they'll do with Debo and vice versa with Terry. So it's very interchangeable, but he gives them some deep speed, some really
yeah.
good speed and playmaking ability, that I think that fans are going to love come to love.
Yeah. What I think what caught my eye draft day. I know I'm talking like it's already 3 weeks ago, but the phone call they made to Lane saying, "Hey, you were the top returner on our board," tells me, okay, Eckler might take a step back or Luke might take a step back.
Hmm.
When Lane running a sub 4.4,
Hmm.
like Diami was fast.
Yeah.
I don't remember Diami being
He
four
wasn't
three
this
five
fast. No,
fast.
no, no, no. He's not Lane fast. Lane is one of their top five fastest guys. I'm going to keep saying this until someone hears me clearly. The fastest player on their football team is number five.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people if he ran a 40, Jayden would run a low 4.340. He's that fast. I wouldn't be surprised if he ever eclipsed a 4.2. I would not be surprised. He's that fast. It's just that as a quarterback, you don't get a chance to see it outward all the time. I predict this year he's going to take one to the house during the game, and I mean like an 80-yarder. He's going to have an LSU moment this year.
Hmm.
Last year was more don't get hurt, don't take the
Just
unnecessary
slide. Just
hits.
slide.
Yeah, just get down, get out of bounds, and it worked. But I think this year, he's bulked up some. I think he
Oh yeah.
feels like, what, I got to finish a play that I feel like I can finish. You remember a couple of times he got down, looked over at Dan real quick, and was like, I get it, I get it. Well, they might have to turn them loose now. They may have to be
Yeah.
more Lamarish type plays. But you think about the speed of Jaylin Lane and think about what that will do. That will be able to back defenses up a little bit and allow for Jayden to make one of those type of
Yeah.
runs. So I just think everything they did, there was no reaching, there was no, just draft someone and see, if he
Yeah.
can turn out to be a good player. Everything they did has rhyme and reason behind it. And I think that's why this football team is going to take another step forward.
Yeah. I think now we have one of the more complete linebacking rooms because they took Hey Medrano. I was like, I didn't do enough homework on a Bruin. I
Ooh,
was high
wait.
on. I was a loss because I did homework on like my Jalen Walkers. I did homeworks on some of those other guys. Not saying
Yeah.
like big schools, but I was like Indiana's caught my eye for whatever reason because Kirk's and Eddie as Sunbelt the whole nine. I did the tape on K Medrano. I was like, this kid is fast.
He's again, and I'll say this too. I just told someone this the other day. Instantly, right now, he's one of their top five athletes on the team.
Yeah.
He's just a freak athlete, and he's fast. Like not just position fast,
Mm-mm.
he's overall fast. And so I keep telling everyone he is going to be Washington's version of Cooper DeJean. That's
Ooh.
that's that's who I see. Like I could
Okay.
see him playing some hybrid strong safety.
Safety.
I could see him playing on the outside, at linebacker. Hell, I could even see them at times putting them in the middle, just
Mm-hmm.
and blitzing them, doing so many different things.
He's got the speed
But
for it.
absolutely. So and think about this. The best thing that could ever happen to Kane was the fact that now he's going to be learning from a first ballot Hall of Famer and Bobby Wagner.
Wagner.
He's going to learn how just being in that position room. The same thing with Jordan McGee's and Dominique Hampton and obviously even Frankie Louvu still.
Luvu. Yeah.
They're able to watch a expert literally do his craft and learn the game and study it and do all that, keep his body right, the way he approaches the game. Kain Medrano walked into a gold mine for him. And I do think that he's going to be a guy that's going to be on the field quite a bit this year.
Yeah. I was high on Jordan McGee last year. I have an infamous reel saying he'd be steal of the draft.
He would have been
Eight
the third linebacker had he not gotten injured.
right.
And I kind of think he's going to be that this year.
Hmm. And I'm all here for it because 58 does not look bad on a jersey. I'm thinking 58 is a weird number. Doesn't look all that bad.
Nah, he's such a good kid too, man. Like he's just all of these guys are, and I, someone told me too, man, like you really been pushing the Kool-Aid this off season, and I'm like, you said I pushed the Kool-Aid last year when I said they were gonna win 11 games. You didn't
Yeah.
believe me. I just know being in these locker rooms for so many years, it's my 20th year covering the NFL,
Woo.
16th for covering Washington.
Yeah.
I can say last year might have been the best locker room I had ever been in. It's just as far as camaraderie, just nice young men. I mean, like everyone was There were no egos in there. It was never like that.
Yeah.
And you saw the results that they had instantly because they got rid of that kind of environment and instantly it changed. So now I'm just looking at this team, having a chance to really take that next step. And I think young guys like Jordan McGee, you're going to hear a lot about him. I think a guy like Tyler Owens, you're going to hear a lot about
Yes.
this year.
A genetic, just a specimen of a safety. Makes no sense for To. Makes no sense.
Yeah. He, Yeah, he's a big dude, man. I saw someone last year, man. It's just he gives you Sean Taylor vibes. Just how big he is.
Yep.
We know Sean is one and only, but this guy, he's a big playmaker, and he's a guy that gets around the football. And he was nicked up a lot last year with some injuries,
Yeah.
so I think this year, just coming back this offseason, being ready, remember that name because he's going to be another guy that I think, along with Will Harris and Percy Butler and Quan Martin, you're going to
Yep.
see him on the field at safety a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Rio and I have an infamous meal. He called him a creative player, and I'm like, it's exactly right. 6'2", 240. I think he ran 4'4". If I like math,
Mm-hmm.
like makes no sense. I'm jealous, and I'm his age.
Yeah, this guy walks on his tiptoes. That I always say when you see a guy walking on their toes, you already know they're nimble of foot,
Yeah.
and you also know that they're athletes. He's just ready to get out and run, and I think that they have big plans for him.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna touch on the last rookie before I get you out of here. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, a
Hmm.
running back. Again, I didn't do as much homework on as I should, and I'm gonna get killed later today or tomorrow when this comes out. But because there wasn't a lot of tape of him at Arizona, and then I looked into it's the NCAA whole thing, and then you look at his New Mexico Lobos film, out of this world speed, nimbleness, his vision, his speed.
He'll
I
also
have
run through you too.
and he'll truck you. He will run.
Yeah.
I like on the depth chart. I was looking at it before we started. He's running back four behind Eckler, Robb, and I think C-Rod. I could see him very well taking two by mid-season.
It may not even be mid-season, to be honest with you. Everyone they drafted, they're given a chance
Yeah,
to prove not that you're going to be on the football team because they drafted you.
right.
Obviously, they know you can play, but I mean, they're going to give you a fair chance to earn your keep. To be like, you know what? If you're out playing a seasoned veteran, you're going
Hmm.
to play. There's
Yeah,
none of that nonsense going on with this group. And that's called competition. And it makes the guy who already has the spot get even better to himself
right.
because there's always someone waiting in the wings. That's what all the great teams do. So
Hmm.
I think with Jacory, or Bill, as we call him,
Bill,
I think I really feel like this guy's got a chance to push B Rob. I do. And, people keep saying, you guys aren't showing love to Brian. No, that's not true at all. I think Brian's a very good football player. I think he would work best if he had a compliment with him, you
right.
know? Say same thing like with David Montgomery. No one's saying David Montgomery's no good. It's just that Jameer Gibbs has something else,
It's
you know.
insane.
So when you pair them up, Jameer makes David better and vice
Yeah,
versa. And I think that that's what Brian's been lacking. I think he's needed another guy that's not similar to his style because I think
right.
Chris Rodriguez is a very good running back.
Yes.
And I'd like to see get some more touches. And I think Austin Eckler, for my money, was their best running back last year. But obviously, he had his injuries. But I think when you see this kid Jacory and just watching his footwork and the things that he can do, the burst, they don't have that on the roster. Now they do, and I think he's going to be a difference maker.
Yeah, that's what like I said previously. Like I kind of wanted Tutton. I wanted Brashard Smith at SMU for that explosive speed. Bill's got that
Yeah.
without question, and he's not like a smaller guy either.
No,
At
he's
run,
not.
no, I think
He's
he's
got size on him.
what he's like just
He,
at 6 foot,
yeah,
five
he's
eleven.
like 5'11", but 5'10", 5'11", but he's got some bulk on him.
Yeah.
Like he almost looks like a little smaller version of Chris Rodriguez,
Okay.
but with blazing speed.
Speed.
And that's going to change this offense for sure. He doesn't have to be a featured back this year. He doesn't, if everyone keeps saying you're hyping him up and you're saying he's better than B Rob, I never said that. What I
Hmm.
said was, I think he's going to take carries away from Brian. And I'm sticking to that. And I think
Mhm.
they want that. I think they want them to be a two-headed monster as opposed to one back and you're hoping somebody else can come in and help. That's the reason why they drafted the kid.
Yeah, I saw it. I was thinking they were gonna go running back soon. So and then you get 5 picks. Everyone is in agreement. Like, oh, this was a great draft and whatnot. And I caught what you said. It was either last week or 2 weeks ago when it was you and Rio live, and you said they were thinking and possibly, because I want to make sure I get the words correctly. I don't want to put words in mouths or anything,
Hmm.
that they might or think they could go a veteran at the edge position. Although we have Armstrong, Javante Jean Baptiste, who I'm a little higher on than most. You got
Hmm.
Louvu off the edge. You brought in Dietrich Wise. You brought in a Jacob Martin. You still got Cleveland Farrell. You still got Andre Jones Jr. from the Ron regime. Uh, and then looking at who else is left in free agency, I could very well see them waiting until July when teams are going from that 90 to 53, and some young dude for whatever reason decides you're not making a Seattle, you're not making a Jets.
Hmm.
I don't because I don't know if a Von Miller or Matthew Judon is going to. I don't want to say bring the feeling because I think that's just wrong, but give us
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
je ne sais quoi as a young
I,
guy.
yeah, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. I mean, I think both those guys will be additions because that could
Right.
help, but it would be stunning the development of somebody else, if you were to do that. So I do agree that they're probably going to go a younger route or a person that's not a one hit type of guy, but
Mhm.
a person that could be here for 2, 3 years. I still think, the Trey Hendrickson thing is still out there. And I just don't see him going back to Cincinnati unless something happens since we've been on the air.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't think they have the money.
No.
So Washington could be a team. And I'll tell you this, Adam and Howie are watching each other.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Because
Trav confirming that.
there's no way that you want him to end up with the Eagles. I mean,
Oh
just
no.
you can't have it.
No no.
You don't want him on the Cowboys. You just don't. So I think all these teams are watching each other and seeing who's
Or the
doing
Giants
what
for
and
that
what.
matter.
Yeah, or the Giants. My gosh, I think their defense is going to be really good too this year. So, yeah, man, that's what it comes down to now. It's an arms war in the NFC
Yeah.
East this year.
The NFC Beast is finally back after so
Yes,
many
it
years.
is. Yes, it is.
And I can't wait. But I'm gonna get you out of here. I want to keep your time valuable. So for those who have not tuned in, which is a crime they haven't, where can they find you across social medias and for your show?
Sure, and I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, you can check me out on social media, Lake Lewis Jr. You can follow my podcast, The Lake Lewis Jr. Show. It's actually on the radio too in DC and Baltimore area, on WOL 95.9 FM and 1450 AM. And that's on Tuesdays where I do the show on that station. And then, of course, you can watch this on YouTube. You can watch my show on YouTube. You can also check me out. I'm an NFL writer for heavy.com, also an NFL analyst for CBS in Richmond, for ESPN in Richmond, and then also for ABC back in DC.
If you're just all over the place, and I absolutely love it. And I can't forget to mention sportsjourney.com. I can't
Yes,
forget to mention that.
absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that too. Yeah, and I got some other stuff coming up that's bigger, so
Ooh.
I'm excited about that. But yeah, man, just try to stay as busy as possible, and there's been a long time coming for these things. So when people offer, I don't turn down.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get you out of here because you have some fun personal matters to enjoy, and I will not get in the way of that. So
Yes,
I'm gonna start. I'm
somebody in
gonna
this
start.
house would be very happy.
Yeah. I want to make sure I keep them happy. I don't want to be on the wrong side of things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well,
So
yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on.
absolutely,
Anytime you want me back, just let me know.
I will absolutely do that. I might see you in December. I'm going to that Philly game on Saturday. I will
Oh
definitely
yeah,
put some money.
you definitely will see me. Hit me up, man. We'll come out, take some pics, and chop it up.
Absolutely. I can't wait. But guys, as I wrap things up, like I said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on Ballin and Burgundy Podcast. Road to 750 subscribers. Instagram and TikTok at Ballin and Burgundy Podcast. Twitter at BIB Podcast 22 because Twitter hates long usernames. Go follow Mr. Lewis. He's been nothing but gracious to us since day one and continues to be gracious with all Washington fans. I'm you're meticulously waiting for any more news because this is around that time where news just slowly, meticulously drops. So for all those who want latest news, Instagram and Twitter, or you can catch myself, Reedy Z and Juan every Wednesday night, 8:30 to 9 o'clock ish, depending on how many technical difficulties we have. The Burgundy Breakdown Wednesday nights. But let's keep tuning into these news. Let's enjoy this offseason and somehow beautiful weather for once in like 5 days, although we're gonna get rain here in Virginia. But let's race all this offseason, guys. And don't forget to stay ballin'. We will see y'all out there.